we're gonna do a Pro Tour Gauntlet right now. So let's see what we get. It looks like we just have a pretty standard aggressive Naya deck, like a zoo. So that's good. I'm decently familiar with zoo. Let me just look at this deck list, see what we got. We got a couple. We got Tarmogoyfs, some Goblin Guides, Kurt Apes, Bolts, Experiment Ones, Nikatals, a couple Tarkus commands. We have Reckless Bushwhackers, which are from the new set, which they seem to be a solid little card, especially if you can surge it in off of a Burning Tree Emissary. And then let's see what we got in the sideboard. Got a couple things against Affinity, a couple land destruction, Deflecting Palm, some Thalias, Stony Silence, more. So we got some paths. It looks like a pretty standard little zoo list. I'm not actually sure what Devastating Summons does, so let me just read that real quick. Sacrifice X lands, put 2 XX tokens onto the battlefield. Alright, so a little bit of an insurance policy against flooding. But let's just make sure. Yeah, the mana base seems pretty standard. Alright, so yeah, it looks pretty exciting. I watched the first day of the Pro Tour and then some of the second day, so I'm not super familiar with all the decks. I know there's a lot of Eldrazi going around, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, we have some fun, and yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. Not too worried. I was worried I was going to get a deck that I knew nothing about, but I'm actually fairly familiar with Zoo. I played a lot of Zoo online. I've done a lot of dailies with Zoo. Obviously, my list is a little different, but Tarmogoyfs, Burning Trees, Goblin Guides, Kurt Apes, Lightning Bolts. It's all the base of the deck is usually pretty similar. All right, so it looks like we're going to be starting here in just a few seconds. We'll see you in round one. Alright, here we are in round one. We lost the die roll, but we actually have a pretty great opening. We have turn 1 Nakatal, turn 2 Emissary into Tarmogoyf. So we definitely keep this, and we even have a path to in case they have a problem creature we have to deal with. So let's see what we're up against. Looks like they also have a zoo list, or it also could be Death Shadow aggro. But let's just start with. We'll start with the Temple Garden. Put out a Wild Nakatal of our own, and we'll just pass the turn back. See what they have. Obviously, we're not going to block here because their Nakatal will just eat our Nakatal. But I like that they're taking so much damage. Okay, they play a Swift Spear, and they bolt our Nakatal. Alright, so it's a reasonable play by our opponent. Yeah, it looks like they're playing the Death Shadow aggro deck. We're not too upset to see the Death Shadow aggro deck because they are going to be doing a lot of damage to their own life total, and we are going to be able to play some really big blockers next turn, and we have a path to exile if they play a very large threat. So we're actually not really sad at all. So they draw a card off the bauble. Alright, so now I think we just want to get... I think we want to preserve our life total just a little. So I think we're going to get Basic Mountain, Burning Tree Emissary, Tarmogoyf. And then next turn we can see where we're at. Alternatively, we can play the Sacred Foundry now, take 2 damage instead of 1, and that will leave us open to next turn fetching for basic and playing. So like this turn, Burning Tree, Tarmogoyf, next turn, say Tarmogoyf and Path. Yeah, I think that's probably a little better actually. So we're going to play untap Sacred Foundry, pay 2 life. We're going to pay red, green for the Burning Tree Emissary. When it enters, we get 2 mana, and then we will play a Tarmogoyf for red. And now we have Chump Blocker with the Emissary, and the Tarmogoyf can block the Nacatl. Or we could use the Tarmogoyf to block the Swift Spear. But I think we're in pretty decent shape right now. We're definitely going to chump block because we do we do want to be able to preserve our life total a little bit. They're definitely aggressively going after their own life total, so that could be a Death Shadow coming down, or that might be a Dismember, maybe. Yeah, so they're going to dismember our Tarmogoyf. That's okay. And they paid, the way they tapped their land on the Tarmogoyf, or to dismember our Tarmogoyf, seems a little strange. I don't know if they wanted to take extra damage, because they could have paid black here, so maybe they have like a lightning helix or something. Either way, I think we're definitely chump blocking with the Burning Tree Emissary, and we're definitely chump blocking the Monastery Swift Spear. The question is, do we also chump block the Wild Nacatl and have our Tarmogoyf die? And I think that if we do that, yeah, I think that's a very reasonable play. Actually, what do they have? Like a Teamer Battle Rage, so they could do 6. We're at 10. I mean, I think that's okay. Yeah, we'll see what our opponent has. Like, obviously, we don't want to see a double lightning bolt or something here, but okay. So Teamer Battle Rage is gonna pump that guy. He gains trample, so we're gonna take 3, 4, 5 damage. Oh no, we took 9 damage. Okay. I think we just win? Alright. So, I did the math a little wrong, but yeah. I did remember Teamer Battle Rage. Okay, so let's see what we have here that we might want to bring in. We got some Phyrexian Unlipes. I'm not sure exactly how good those would be. Path to Exile seems like it will be good. We definitely don't want these Stony Silences, or these Ancient Grudges. Kozilek's Return is not going to be good enough. We do not care about Molten Rain. We do want a Path. I don't think we need these Thalias. They do help us against stuff like Temur Battle Rage and Gataxian Probe, but I don't know. I don't know the matchup very, very well. But I do know that they are trying to Temur Battle Rage us to death. This Deflecting Palm says the next time a source would deal damage, prevent that damage, and it does that much damage to its source's controller. That actually might be pretty solid in the matchup. It only prevents the first time or the next time the damage happens, so it doesn't do anything against, say, like it doesn't stop both portions of Double Strike, but it could be a good little trick since they get their life down very low. So let's see. Tarkus Command seems okay, but I don't know if it's necessarily what we want to be doing. Let's see. Reckless Bushwhacker. We just want to... Okay, I don't think we need this Devastating Summons. And... No, we don't need this Forked Bolt. So one more card we need to cut. I like all the stuff that does damage to our opponent and gets them... Okay, so I think I'm going to cut one Bushwhacker. I think it's a little worse than our Tarmogoyfs, and I love our Burning Tree Emissaries. I just want to... I want to punish our opponent for playing spells and things that damage their own life. So I think we'll run it back like this and see how it goes. So they will be playing first. We have Lightning Bolt, Goyf, a Tarkus Command, Path to Exile. Sure, I mean, we have 6 points of burn in our hand, and a Goyf, and a Path. I mean, I would have loved to see a 1-drop creature, but this is definitely a keep. We can play a turn 1 tapped Stomping Ground or tap Temple Garden, but I think turn 1 tapped Stomping Ground is probably what we're going to end up with. And our opponent is, once again, aggressively using their life total as a resource. And that is fine with us because we have 6 points of burn in our hand. So let's see what we can get off this Goblin Guide. We pick up an Arid Mesa, which is good. We didn't want to be drawing that. So let's see if we can draw some action for turn 1. No, we draw another land. So I think at this point we just have all the land in the world. I think we can just play a Stomping Ground untapped, and then we could Lightning Bolt our opponent next turn, or at the end of their turn, and then next turn play a Tarmogoyf, have a blocker, and then after that we have a Tarkus Command and Path up. I think that's what we want to do, so we're going to leave this untapped, take a little hit on our life, but we're only being pressured by a Goblin Guide. We got to discard, so we're going to discard one of our lands. We don't need this Windswept Heath. And I mean, we could have played the Lightning Bolt so that we didn't have to discard, but we have so many lands, it doesn't matter. So we're gonna get attacked now. Let's see what we get. It's another land, so we are definitely flooding a bit, but it's okay. We will take this damage. go down to 14 and see if our opponent has a follow-up. They play an Akadal, and I think, yeah, I think we're still just bolting our opponent at the end of turn. They use their life total a lot, so any damage we can get in. Alright, so now we have a Goblin Guide of our own, which is good, and of course we have this Tarmogoyf. So we're going to play, we're going to definitely play the Goyf. We're going to just be fetching basics right now. So right now we'll get a, let's get this Forest. And then we can play a Tarmogoyf. And we have a blocker. And then we do have a Tarkus Command for next turn. And depending on what they play and what we get here, let's see, something, Tarmogoyf enters the revealed zone, so that's pretty good. We're definitely going to block their Nikadal, and if they kill our Goyf, they kill our Goyf. It's just what happens, but we don't want to be taking too much damage, especially since we're getting our, yeah, that's fine. So we save some, what's he gonna Battle Rage us here? So we might just be dead. Let's see, that's gonna be 10 damage, 11, 12. I think we live. Let's see. Okay, so we do live. And let's see, is there anything we can do here? So, I guess the only thing we can do is play like a tapped land, because we can't take any damage we're at 1. So we could play a tapped land, and then we can Tarka's Command our opponent if they make a mistake. Otherwise, we're just playing a Goblin Guide attacking for 2, and that's not going to be good enough. Right. So I guess what we should have done differently is, I mean, let's play our land. Let's see if our opponent makes a mistake and gives us the option of taking the game from them. We can't play a Tarmogoyf, obviously. I guess if we had gotten... No, I don't think there's anything we could have done. I was going to say if we had gotten, if we'd fetched for like a Sacred Foundry or something, we could have then did like Path to Exile and played a Goblin Guide this turn. But if we had gotten the Sacred Foundry, we would have taken an extra 2 points of damage and just been dead. So let's see. Yeah, our opponent's definitely just going to attack us. And a Curdate. And yeah, so I don't think there's anything we could have played differently here. If you see something, let me know. But I think we were just dead. We've kind of flooded out a bit in game 2. So maybe these Thalias are actually okay because they prevent like double mutagenic growths. And I would just take out Bushwhackers for them. But the problem is the Bushwhackers are just so good in conjunction with Burning Tree Emissary, and white mana is kind of our... like, we don't have any basic planes, so we kind of want to be preserving our life total as much as possible. So we'd have to be playing like tapped turn one things. Is Thalia worth bringing in the matchup instead of a Bushwhacker? See, I don't know. I don't have enough experience with like this matchup or with Death Shadow in general. It seems like it could be good. It could stop them from doing stuff like that, but we also want to be pressuring our opponent and dealing a lot of damage to them. And I think that Reckless Bushwhacker does more damage and Thalia is just more defensive. We should just be holding lightning bolts and paths maybe for when they decide to pump their guys and do a Teamer Battle Rage. But I'm just going to try it like this again. Because, I mean, we're on the play. So, let's see. Card Ape, Nikado, Card Ape, Experiment 1. So kind of very classic zoo, where we just are going to play several creatures. I think it's probably good enough to keep. We don't have any way to interact with them if they have some kind of crazy start. So let's just start by getting a Stomping Ground, and then we'll play Stomping Ground, probably Experiment 1, and then next turn we can play Curt Ape and Nikado, and the Experiment 1 will be a 3/3. So we're going to get Stomping Ground with a Foothills, untapped, Experiment 1, and then next turn we can play a Curt Ape, and then that will evolve our Experiment 1, and then we'll play a Nikado, which will evolve our Experiment 1. And then we can attack for 3 depending on what he does. It's also possible we should have just gotten like a Temple Garden, but we're gonna be taking damage from our land pretty much either way. So yeah, he's gonna play a Nikado. It's a 2/2, so we can attack into it next turn, and then have like a chump blocker, and we have a path. So I think we're gonna pick up. Okay, so we need a red and we need a green. So we're gonna pick up a white, green, I think. Okay, so we'll get Temple Garden, then we could do Curt Ape, and then Wild Nikado. Right. So Temple Garden, pay 2 life. We're going to play Curt Ape. It's going to evolve him once. And then we're going to play a Wild Nikado, which will evolve him again. And then we're going to attack with our Experiment 1. Have a couple blockers. And then next turn we have Path to Exile, and we could always regenerate the Experiment 1 at this point. We probably won't need to, but we'll have Path, and we could play another Curt Ape, which is a good chump blocker. And Path, of course, is great, just stopping our opponent from, going all in on one creature with a Teamer Battle Rage. So I think we're in decent shape right now. Our opponent is taking a lot of damage. We have a pretty nice board right now. We can play another card ape next turn. If he attacks, we're definitely blocking with at least one creature, and probably actually just blocking with. Okay, so now he's playing a Swift Spear. So now he could have like mutagenic growths. He has a Gataxian Probe. He can play a Death Shadow and have a pretty nice one right now. But we're definitely just gonna block both his creatures. He can have something like Dismember, which would be also okay with us. So let's see what he does right now, because if he attacks with everything, we can block the Nakadal. He's gonna pump up his Swift Spear one more time, which is fine. We don't mind chump blocking, especially since he could have mutagenic growths. He can't Team or Battle Rage us, so we could just also take 6 and then attack back for lethal, which is pretty attractive. Let's see what he does. He's attacking with just the 3/4. So he could do mutagenic growth would put it to 6. A second mutagenic growth would put it to 9. Third mutagenic growth would put it to 12. And like a Dismember would put it to 13. So if he has all 4 mutagenic growths, we are dead. And I think we're okay with that. We could just like block, like chump with the Curd Ape, but then he can block with the Nakadal and Dismember one of our guys, which is okay. I think we just take it, see what he has. Okay, so we just take a couple damage. See, it would also probably have been great if I had learned the deck list a little bit before. Okay, so let's see. Do we just win here? We can Path to Exile the Death Shadow, attack with everything. So he blocks our biggest guy and takes 5, and then we Lightning Bolt him and he takes 8. So we Path to Exile the Death Shadow. He gets to take a land. We go to combat. We attack with everything. He can block our biggest guy. He'll take 5, and then we can Lightning Bolt for the win. All right, that seems reasonable. I don't think there's anything here that we have to worry about. Okay, he's gonna take 6, I guess, and then we just Lightning Bolt him. That should be the win. All right, so that was round 1. I think it's a pretty good matchup for us. Zoo is very aggressive, and he hurts his life total. That's his whole game plan. So we really only have to be able to do like 12 points of damage in any given game, and we win. So I think that was a pretty good match for us. We got pretty lucky there. And yeah, let's hope that we can keep it going and do pretty good at this Pro Tour Gauntlet. All right, we'll see you in round 2.